As we embark on this exploration, it is crucial to understand that the term occult, derived from the Latin occultus, signifies that which is hidden, secret, or not readily apparent. Therefore, occult magic, in its broadest sense, pertains to systems of knowledge and practice that aim to access and manipulate hidden or unseen forces and energies within the universe. At the very heart of occult magic lies the concept of hidden knowledge. This isn't merely about keeping information secret for its own sake, but rather a belief that certain truths about reality are not accessible through ordinary means. This knowledge is often esoteric, meaning it is intended for and likely understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interest. It is transmitted through lineages of initiates, carefully guarded texts, and symbolic languages that require interpretation and decoding. This secrecy also stems from the belief that such knowledge can be dangerous in the wrong hands, or that its power is diminished if revealed to the uninitiated. Now, what exactly do practitioners do with this hidden knowledge? They put it into practice through rituals and practices. These are the outward manifestations of the inner workings of occult magic. Rituals act as a bridge between the mundane and the spiritual realms. They are carefully constructed sequences of actions, words, and symbolic gestures designed to create a specific energetic environment and facilitate communication with or influence upon unseen forces. These rituals often involve the use of sigils, talismans, and other symbolic objects that are believed to hold specific power or represent particular entities or energies. Divination practices such as tarot reading, astrology, and scrying are also commonly employed to gain insight into the past, present, and future, and to discern the will of these unseen forces. The purpose of these rituals can vary widely, from healing and protection to divination and the manipulation of external events. Finally, understanding occult magic necessitates an appreciation of its historical evolution. It is not a monolithic entity, but a complex tapestry woven from diverse threads spanning millennia and cultures. From the shamanistic traditions of ancient civilizations to the Hermetic and Neoplatonic philosophies of the classical world, and from the medieval grimoires of ceremonial magic to the modern revival of Wicca and other pagan traditions, occult magic has continuously adapted and evolved. Studying its history reveals the profound influence it has exerted on art, literature, philosophy, and even science throughout the ages. We see echoes of occult ideas in the Renaissance fascination with alchemy and astrology, in the Romantic movement's embrace of the mystical and the sublime, and in the development of depth psychology. Recognizing this historical context is crucial for avoiding simplistic or stereotypical understandings of the occult and for appreciating its rich and enduring legacy. In summary, occult magic is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon characterized by its focus on hidden knowledge, its reliance on ritual practices to interact with unseen forces, and its long and fascinating historical evolution. In the lectures to come, we will delve deeper into specific traditions, key figures, and the philosophical underpinnings of this enigmatic field. As we venture further into the realm of occult magic, it's essential to examine its ancient origins, where the seeds of these mystical practices were first sown. Our journey takes us to the fertile plains of Mesopotamia and the majestic landscapes of Egypt, two civilizations that played a pivotal role in shaping the course of occult history. In ancient Mesopotamia, we find the earliest documented evidence of occult magic, where the Sumerians and Babylonians cultivated a profound understanding of the cosmos and its influence on human affairs. Their elaborate systems of astrology and divination were rooted in the belief that celestial bodies and omens held the secrets of the future. The Mesopotamians meticulously observed the movements of the stars and planets, assigning specific meanings to each celestial event. This knowledge was used to predict the fortunes of kings, the outcomes of battles, and the fertility of the land. The famous Epic of Gilgamesh, for instance, contains references to divination and the consultation of omens, highlighting the integral role of these practices in Mesopotamian society. As we transition to ancient Egypt, we encounter a civilization that was utterly enthralled by the mysteries of the universe. Egyptian society was permeated by a complex web of magical beliefs and practices, which were inextricably linked to their religious and philosophical worldview. The Egyptians revered a pantheon of deities, each associated with specific powers and attributes, and believed that these gods could be invoked and appeased through elaborate rituals and spells. The use of amulets and talismans was widespread, with these objects serving as conduits for divine energy and protection. Egyptian magic was not merely a means of achieving personal gain or manipulating external events, it was also a way of maintaining balance and harmony within the cosmos. One of the most fascinating examples of Egyptian magical practices is the Book of the Dead, a corpus of spells and rituals intended to guide the deceased through the treacherous landscape of the afterlife. This remarkable text, with its vivid illustrations and cryptic symbolism, provides a unique window into the Egyptian understanding of the mysteries of death and the afterlife. The Book of the Dead was not simply a funerary text, but a comprehensive guide to the magical arts, offering insights into the nature of the soul, the judgment of the dead, and the ultimate goal of achieving eternal life. The Egyptian priestly class play a vital role in the development and dissemination of magical knowledge, often serving as intermediaries between the divine and human realms. Their rituals and spells were designed to maintain the balance of the cosmos, ensure the pharaoh's legitimacy, and provide protection against evil spirits and malevolent forces. The Egyptians also developed a sophisticated system of magical symbolism, where images, hieroglyphs, and geometric patterns were used to convey complex ideas and invoke specific energies. In both Mesopotamia and Egypt, we see the emergence of a distinctive feature of occult magic: the concept of a hidden, underlying reality that can be accessed and influenced through magical means. This idea would continue to evolve and spread throughout the ancient world, influencing the development of mystical and esoteric traditions in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and beyond. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will delve deeper into the historical and cultural contexts that shaped these practices, examining the ways in which they were transmitted, transformed, and adapted over time. As we continue to explore the evolution of occult magic, we find ourselves in the midst of a fascinating era, marked by the convergence of various philosophical, spiritual, and mystical traditions. The Hellenistic period, with its rich cultural and intellectual landscape, witnessed the emergence of Hermeticism, a philosophical and spiritual tradition that would profoundly shape the course of Western esotericism. Hermeticism, attributed to the enigmatic figure of Hermes Trismegistus, represents a unique synthesis of Greek philosophy, Egyptian mysticism, and other ancient traditions. The Hermetic texts, a collection of writings that include the Corpus Hermeticum and the Emerald Tablet, delve into the nature of the universe, the divine, and the human condition. These texts explore the mysteries of creation, the interconnectedness of all things, and the potential for human transformation and spiritual growth. At the heart of Hermeticism lies the concept of the microcosm and the macrocosm, where the human being is seen as a reflection of the universe and the universe is understood as a vast, harmonious system governed by divine laws. The Hermetic tradition places great emphasis on the power of human consciousness, suggesting that the mind is capable of transcending the limitations of the material world and accessing higher states of awareness. This idea is beautifully encapsulated in the famous Hermetic axiom, "as above, so below," which suggests that the human being contains within itself a reflection of the divine and that the macrocosm is mirrored in the microcosm. Hermeticism also explores the concept of the divine spark, the idea that a spark of the divine resides within each individual, waiting to be fanned into a flame through spiritual practice and self-realization. As we move into late antiquity, we encounter another influential philosophical system, Neoplatonism. This tradition, which emerged as a reinterpretation of Plato's teachings, emphasizes the mystical and spiritual dimensions of philosophy. Neoplatonists such as Plotinus and Iamblichus develop a complex metaphysical framework that describes the universe as a hierarchical system, with the one with the source at its apex. The Neoplatonic vision of the universe is one of emanation, where the divine energy flows downward, creating a series of spiritual and material realms, each with its own distinct characteristics. Neoplatonism is characterized by its emphasis on the journey of the soul toward divine union. This journey is seen as a process of purification, where the individual must transcend the limitations of the material world and the ego in order to realize its true nature as a spark of the divine. The Neoplatonists developed a range of spiritual practices, including meditation, contemplation, and theurgy, which were designed to facilitate this process of self-realization and union with the divine. The influence of Hermeticism and Neoplatonism, along with other mystical currents, paved the way for the development of occult magic in later centuries. These traditions provided a rich intellectual and spiritual framework for understanding the nature of the universe, the human condition, and the potential for magical and spiritual transformation. As we will see, the emergence of occult magic in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance was deeply indebted to the Hermetic and Neoplatonic traditions, which provided a foundation for the development of new magical and spiritual practices. In the next part of our journey, we will explore the medieval and Renaissance periods, where we will encounter the rise of ceremonial magic, the development of grimoires, and the emergence of new spiritual and philosophical movements that would shape the course of Western occultism. We will examine the ways in which Hermeticism and Neoplatonism influenced the development of occult magic, and how these traditions continue to shape our understanding of the mystical and the unknown. Continuing our exploration of the ancient roots of occult magic, we now turn our attention to the vibrant civilizations of Greece and Rome. These societies, renowned for their contributions to philosophy, art, and governance, also nurtured a rich undercurrent of mystical and magical practices that would leave a lasting impact on the development of Western esotericism. In ancient Greece, a fertile ground for philosophical and spiritual inquiry, we encounter a diverse array of religious and mystical traditions. Orphism, a particularly intriguing tradition, taught about the soul's journey through reincarnation and the importance of purification for achieving liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Orphic cults celebrated the god Dionysus and practiced ritualistic ceremonies aimed at achieving ecstatic union with the divine. These practices emphasized the mystical dimensions of religious experience and the transformative power of ritual and symbolism. Moreover, Greek philosophers such as Pythagoras and Plato explored ideas that would profoundly influence later occult practices. Pythagoras, known for his mathematical and philosophical insights, believed that numbers held a key to understanding the underlying structure of the universe. His teachings emphasized the importance of harmony and proportion, and he saw mathematics as a tool for unlocking the secret of the cosmos. Plato, in his dialogues, explored the concept of a cosmic order, suggesting that the material world is a reflection of a higher realm of forms or ideas. Plato's philosophy influenced the development of Neoplatonism, which, as we discussed earlier, played a crucial role in shaping the intellectual landscape of late antiquity and the development of occult magic. Moving westward to ancient Rome, we encounter a civilization that absorbed and integrated various religious and magical practices from the territories it conquered. Roman magic drew upon a diverse range of sources, including Greek, Egyptian, and Eastern traditions. Astrology, divination, and rituals aimed at influencing the gods and goddesses were common practices in Roman society. The Romans believed in the power of omens and portents, and they consulted soothsayers and diviners to interpret the will of the gods and predict the future. Roman magic was not limited to religious or ceremonial contexts. It also played a role in everyday life, with people using spells and amulets for protection, healing, and success. The Romans believed in the power of the evil eye, and they employed various magical techniques to ward off its harmful influence. However, the popularity of magic also led to concerns about witchcraft and the use of harmful spells. Roman law included provisions against the practice of black magic, and those accused of witchcraft could face severe penalties. In both Greece and Rome, we see the emergence of a tension between the official state religion and the more personal and esoteric practices of magic and mysticism. While the state religion emphasized public rituals and the worship of the Olympian gods, individuals often turned to magic and mysticism for personal guidance, healing, and spiritual fulfillment. This tension between official and unofficial forms of religion would continue to shape the development of occult magic throughout history. As we continue our exploration, we will examine how these ancient traditions were transmitted and transformed during the Middle Ages, leading to the emergence of new forms of occult magic, such as ceremonial magic and alchemy. We will also explore the role of the Renaissance in revitalizing ancient Hermetic and Neoplatonic ideas, and how these ideas influence the development of Western esotericism. As we journey through the landscape of occultism, it's vital to acknowledge the profound influence of Jewish mysticism, and in particular, the Kabbalah. Emerging in the Middle Ages, the Kabbalah represents a rich and intricate esoteric tradition within Judaism, offering a unique perspective on the nature of God, the universe, and the intricate relationship between them. It is a complex system of thought that seeks to unveil the hidden dimensions of reality through mystical interpretations of Hebrew scriptures and other sacred texts. The term Kabbalah, meaning received tradition, underscores the importance of transmission and lineage in this mystical system. Kabbalistic knowledge is believed to have been passed down through generations of initiates, originating from ancient sources and refined through centuries of contemplation and experience. This tradition is characterized by its use of symbolism, numerology, and various spiritual practices, all aimed at fostering a deeper understanding of the divine and ultimately achieving spiritual enlightenment. At the heart of Kabbalah lies the concept of the Sephirot, 10 divine emanations or attributes through which God manifests in the world. These Sephirot are often depicted as a complex diagram known as the Tree of Life, which serves as a map of the divine realm and a guide for spiritual ascent. Each Sephirah represents a different aspect of God's nature, such as wisdom, understanding, compassion, and justice. By meditating on the Sephirot and their interrelationships, Kabbalists seek to gain insight into the divine plan and to align themselves with the cosmic order. Numerology plays a significant role in Kabbalistic thought, with each Hebrew letter and word assigned a numerical value. Kabbalists believe that these numerical values hold hidden meanings and can reveal connections between seemingly disparate concepts. By analyzing the numerical values of words and phrases in the Hebrew scriptures, Kabbalists seek to uncover deeper layers of meaning and to gain access to the divine wisdom encoded within the text. This practice, known as gematria, is just one example of the Kabbalistic techniques used to unlock the secrets of the universe. Jewish mysticism, encompassing traditions like Kabbalah, has profoundly shaped the spiritual beliefs and practices within Jewish communities throughout history. It has fostered the development of esoteric interpretations of religious texts, offering alternative perspectives on the nature of God and the relationship between the divine and the human. Mystical traditions have provided a framework for personal spiritual experiences, encouraging individuals to seek a direct and intimate connection with the divine through prayer, meditation, and other contemplative practices. The Kabbalah has also influenced the development of Western occultism, particularly during the Renaissance when Christian scholars became interested in its mystical teachings. Christian Kabbalists sought to integrate Kabbalistic ideas with Christian theology, creating new and innovative forms of spiritual practice. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a prominent occult society in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, drew heavily on Kabbalistic symbolism and techniques, incorporating them into its complex system of ritual magic. It's important to note that the study of Kabbalah has traditionally been restricted to those who are considered to be spiritually and intellectually mature, as its profound and complex teachings can be easily misunderstood or misused. The Kabbalah is not merely an intellectual pursuit, but a path of spiritual transformation that requires dedication, discipline, and a deep commitment to ethical principles. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, it is crucial to recognize the enduring legacy of the Kabbalah and its influence on the development of Western esotericism. Its rich symbolism, intricate metaphysics, and profound spiritual insights continue to inspire seekers and practitioners who are drawn to the mysteries of the divine. In our next lecture, we will delve further into the medieval and Renaissance periods, exploring the rise of ceremonial magic and the influence of Hermeticism on the development of Western occultism. As we continue our exploration of the historical landscape of occult magic, we now turn our attention to a fascinating and often misunderstood discipline: alchemy. Alchemy, practiced for centuries across various cultures, represents a unique blend of mysticism, philosophy, and proto-science. While it is often associated with the pursuit of transmuting base metals into gold, its true aims were far more profound, encompassing the quest for spiritual transformation and the discovery of the elixir of life. Alchemy is rooted in ancient traditions, drawing upon elements from Egyptian Hermeticism, Greek philosophy, and other mystical systems. Its origins can be traced back to Hellenistic Egypt, where alchemists combined Greek philosophical concepts with Egyptian metallurgical practices. The word alchemy itself is believed to derive from the Arabic term alchemia, which in turn is thought to originate from the Egyptian word chemi, meaning black earth, a reference to the fertile soil of the Nile Delta. The practice of alchemy involved a complex system of symbolism, esoteric knowledge, and meticulous experimentation. Alchemists believed that all matter was composed of three fundamental principles: sulfur, mercury, and salt. These principles were not understood in the modern chemical sense, but rather as symbolic representations of the qualities of combustibility, volatility, and fixity, respectively. The goal of the alchemist was to purify and balance these principles within a substance, ultimately leading to its transformation into a higher form. The transmutation of base metals into gold was seen as both a literal process and a metaphor for the spiritual transformation of the alchemist. The alchemists believed that by working with matter in the laboratory, they could also purify and refine their own soul, ultimately achieving enlightenment and union with the divine. The philosopher's stone, a legendary substance sought by alchemists, was believed to possess the power to transmute base metals into gold, cure all diseases, and grant immortality. While alchemy ultimately failed to achieve its primary goals of transmuting base metals into gold and discovering the elixir of life, it made significant contributions to the development of chemistry and other sciences. Alchemists developed a range of laboratory techniques, such as distillation, filtration, and calcination, which are still used in modern chemistry. They also discovered and characterized a variety of chemical substances, contributing to our understanding of the properties of matter. Alchemy's emphasis on experimentation, observation, and the careful recording of results laid the groundwork for modern scientific inquiry. Alchemists were meticulous in their observations, and they sought to understand the underlying principles governing the behavior of matter. This emphasis on empirical observation and the pursuit of rational explanations marked a significant departure from purely speculative or philosophical approaches to understanding the natural world. It is important to recognize that alchemy was not simply a primitive form of chemistry, but a complex and multifaceted discipline that encompassed philosophical, spiritual, and practical dimensions. Alchemists saw their work as a sacred quest, a means of both understanding and transforming the world around them. The symbolic language of alchemy, with its rich imagery and metaphorical allusions, reflects this deep connection between the material and the spiritual realms. As we continue our journey, we will explore the legacy of alchemy in the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, examining how its ideas influenced the development of science, medicine, and philosophy. We will also delve into the modern interpretations of alchemy, where it is often seen as a psychological process of self-discovery and transformation. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the rise of ceremonial magic and the grimoires that served as guides for its practitioners. As we traverse the medieval landscape of occultism, it's crucial to recognize the pervasive influence of astrology and divination. During this period, a profound fascination with understanding the cosmos and its relationship to human affairs swept through both the scholarly elite and the general populace. Astrology, in particular, experienced a surge in popularity, with individuals from all walks of life seeking to decipher the celestial patterns that were believed to govern their lives. Medieval astrologers believed that the positions of the planets and constellations at the time of a person's birth, or at the moment of a particular event, could reveal insights into their character, destiny, and potential future. They meticulously calculated horoscopes, which were charts depicting the positions of the celestial bodies, and interpreted these charts to make predictions about individuals, communities, and even entire kingdoms. Astrology was not merely a form of fortune telling, but a complex system of knowledge that integrated astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. Medieval scholars saw the cosmos as a hierarchical structure, with the Earth at the center and the planets and stars arranged in concentric spheres. They believed that the celestial bodies exerted a subtle but powerful influence on the Earth and its inhabitants, and that by understanding these influences, one could gain valuable insights into the workings of the universe. Astrology played a significant role in medicine, with physicians using astrological charts to diagnose illnesses and determine the most auspicious times for treatment. It was also used in agriculture, with farmers consulting astrological calendars to determine the best times for planting and harvesting crops. Kings and rulers often employed court astrologers to advise them on matters of state, seeking to align their actions with the celestial currents. Alongside astrology, various forms of divination flourished in the Middle Ages. Divination practices aimed to gain insights into the past, present, and future through the interpretation of signs, symbols, and omens. Tarot card readings, with their rich symbolism and allegorical imagery, became increasingly popular, offering individuals a means of exploring their inner selves and gaining guidance in their lives. Scrying, the practice of gazing into a reflected surface, such as a crystal ball or a bowl of water, was another common form of divination. Scryers sought to enter a trance-like state in which they could perceive visions and receive messages from the spirit world. Other forms of divination included geomancy, the interpretation of patterns formed by casting earth or sand, and augury, the interpretation of the behavior of birds. Divination practices were often used for guidance and decision-making, providing individuals with a sense of control in a world often characterized by uncertainty and hardship. They also served as a means of connecting with the unseen realms and seeking wisdom from beyond the material world. It's important to acknowledge that astrology and divination were not universally accepted during the Middle Ages. The Church, in particular, viewed these practices with suspicion, as they were seen as potentially challenging the authority of divine revelation. However, despite the opposition of some religious authorities, astrology and divination continued to thrive, reflecting the deep human desire to understand the mysteries of the universe and to seek guidance in navigating the complexities of life. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the ways in which astrology and divination were integrated into the broader framework of Western esotericism, influencing the development of ceremonial magic, alchemy, and other mystical traditions. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the rise of grimoires, the handbooks of magic that provided detailed instructions for performing rituals, conjuring spirits, and manipulating the forces of nature. As we navigate the history of the occult, it becomes impossible to ignore the shadow cast by the witch hunts of the late medieval and early modern periods. This era, marked by fear, superstition, and religious intolerance, represents a dark chapter in Western history, and it is crucial to examine it with both critical awareness and sensitivity. At the heart of the European witch hunts lies the Malleus Maleficarum, or Hammer of Witches, a treatise on witchcraft published in 1486 by two German Dominican monks, Heinrich Kramer and James Sprenger. This book, far from being a neutral or objective investigation of witchcraft, presented a profoundly distorted and misogynistic view of the phenomenon. The Malleus Maleficarum became a key text in witch hunts, providing a framework for identifying, prosecuting and punishing those accused of witchcraft. The book argued that witchcraft was primarily a female phenomenon, asserting that women were more susceptible to demonic influence due to their supposedly weaker intellect and greater carnal desires. It portrayed witches as agents of the devil engaged in acts of sacrilege, infanticide, and the desecration of religious symbols. The Malleus Maleficarum provided detailed descriptions of supposed witchcraft practices, including flying on broomsticks, attending nocturnal gatherings known as sabbats, and engaging in sexual relations with demons. The publication of the Malleus Maleficarum coincided with a period of intense social and religious upheaval in Europe. The rise of the printing press facilitated the rapid dissemination of the book, contributing to the spread of fear and paranoia about witchcraft. The Protestant Reformation and the Catholic Counter-Reformation further fueled religious tensions, creating an environment in which accusations of heresy and witchcraft could easily be used to settle scores and persecute those deemed to be different or threatening. The witch hunts resulted in the persecution and execution of countless individuals, primarily women, who were accused of witchcraft. Accusations were often based on flimsy evidence, such as rumors, hearsay, or personal animosities. Torture was commonly used to extract confessions, and those accused of witchcraft were often denied fair trials or legal representation. The witch hunts had a devastating impact on communities, tearing apart families and creating an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. It is important to recognize that the witch hunts were not simply a product of irrational superstition. They were also rooted in social, economic, and political factors. Accusations of witchcraft were sometimes used to target marginalized groups, such as poor women, widows, and healers, who were seen as challenging the established social order. The witch hunts also served as a means of consolidating power, allowing religious and secular authorities to assert their control over communities and suppress dissent. The witch hunts gradually declined in the 17th and 18th centuries as skepticism about witchcraft grew and legal reforms were implemented to protect the rights of the accused. However, the legacy of the witch hunts continues to haunt us today, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of religious extremism, the misuse of power, and the consequences of prejudice and intolerance. The events surrounding the Malleus Maleficarum and the witch hunts underscore the importance of critical thinking, skepticism, and a commitment to protecting the rights of all individuals, regardless of their beliefs or social status. They also highlight the need to be vigilant against the spread of misinformation and the manipulation of fear for political or ideological purposes. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, it is essential to remember the lessons of the witch hunts and to approach this complex and often controversial subject with sensitivity, respect, and a commitment to historical accuracy. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the Renaissance and the revival of Hermeticism, examining how this philosophical and spiritual tradition influenced the development of Western esotericism. As we transition into the Renaissance, we witness a significant resurgence of interest in the occult, marking a pivotal moment in the history of Western esotericism. This period, characterized by intellectual ferment, artistic innovation, and a renewed appreciation for classical learning, provided a fertile ground for the development of ceremonial magic as a prominent and influential tradition. Ceremonial magic, also known as high magic or ritual magic, emphasizes the use of elaborate rituals, symbolic language, and the invocation of spirits to achieve specific goals. Unlike folk magic, which often relies on simple spells and charms, ceremonial magic involves complex procedures, detailed instructions, and a deep understanding of occult principles. The practitioners of ceremonial magic sought to harness the power of the cosmos and the spirit world to effect changes in the material realm. Ceremonial magic draws upon a variety of sources, including Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, Kabbalah, and ancient pagan traditions. It integrates elements of astrology, alchemy, and divination into its complex system of practice. The rituals of ceremonial magic often involve the use of sacred spaces, elaborate costumes, symbolic objects, and the recitation of prayers and incantations. One of the key figures in the development of Renaissance ceremonial magic was Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa von Nettesheim (1486 to 1535), often known simply as Agrippa. Agrippa was a German polymath, physician, and occult philosopher who wrote extensively on magic, astrology, alchemy, and Kabbalah. His most famous work, De Occulta Philosophiae Libritres, 3 books of occult philosophy, published in 1531, became the foundational text for Western occultism. In De Occulta Philosophia, Agrippa presented a comprehensive overview of occult philosophy, drawing upon ancient traditions and seeking to integrate magic with natural philosophy. He argued that magic was a legitimate science based on the understanding of the hidden forces of nature and the power of the human will. Agrippa emphasized the importance of knowledge, discipline, and ethical conduct in the practice of magic. He believed that true magic could only be achieved through a deep understanding of the cosmos and a commitment to spiritual growth. Agrippa's work explored the concept of the 3 worlds: the elemental world, the celestial world, and the intellectual world. He argued that each of these worlds was governed by its own set of laws and principles, and that the magician could learn to manipulate these laws to achieve desired outcomes. Agrippa also discussed the power of symbols, numbers, and words, arguing that they could be used to invoke spirits and influence the forces of nature. Agrippa's writings had a profound impact on the development of ceremonial magic in the Renaissance and beyond. His emphasis on knowledge, discipline, and the integration of magic with natural philosophy helped to elevate the status of magic from a superstitious practice to a sophisticated art and science. Agrippa's work also inspired generations of occultists to explore the mysteries of the universe and to seek a deeper understanding of the human potential for spiritual transformation. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the ways in which ceremonial magic evolved in the centuries following the Renaissance, influencing the development of various occult societies and traditions. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the grimoires, the handbooks of magic that provided detailed instructions for performing rituals, conjuring spirits, and manipulating the forces of nature. As we delve further into the tapestry of Western occultism, we encounter the emergence of Rosicrucianism in the 17th century, a movement deeply intertwined with Hermeticism and esoteric Christian traditions. Rosicrucianism represents a fascinating blend of mysticism, philosophy, and social reform, seeking to transform both the individual and society through the pursuit of hidden wisdom and spiritual enlightenment. The Rosicrucian movement burst onto the European scene with the publication of 3 anonymously published manifestos: the Fama Fraternitatis 1614, the Confessio Fraternitatis 1615, and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz 1616. These manifestos proclaimed the existence of a secret brotherhood, the Rosicrucians, dedicated to the advancement of knowledge, the healing of the sick, and the spiritual transformation of humanity. The Rosicrucian manifestos presented a vision of a utopian society governed by enlightened principles where science, art, and religion were harmoniously integrated. The Rosicrucians claimed to possess ancient wisdom passed down through generations of initiates, which could unlock the secrets of nature and lead to a new era of spiritual and intellectual progress. The Rosicrucian manifestos sparked widespread interest and speculation throughout Europe. Many individuals and groups claimed to be associated with the Rosicrucians, leading to the formation of numerous Rosicrucian societies and orders. However, the true identity and activities of the original Rosicrucian Brotherhood remain shrouded in mystery, and some scholars believe that the movement may have been primarily a literary and philosophical phenomenon rather than a concrete organization. Regardless of its historical origins, Rosicrucianism had a profound impact on the development of Western esotericism. The Rosicrucian manifestos promoted a vision of spiritual transformation through knowledge, self-discipline, and service to others. They emphasized the importance of studying the natural world, engaging in mystical practices, and cultivating ethical conduct. Rosicrucianism also drew heavily on Hermetic and Kabbalistic traditions, integrating these esoteric systems into its framework of thought. The Rosicrucians saw Hermeticism as a key to understanding the hidden forces of nature and the relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm. They also incorporated Kabbalistic symbolism and techniques into their rituals and meditations. The Rosicrucian movement was closely associated with esoteric Christian traditions, which sought to access hidden spiritual truths beyond the traditional interpretations of Christianity. These traditions, such as Gnosticism, emphasized the importance of personal mystical experience and the search for inner enlightenment. Esoteric Christians sought to understand the deeper meaning of the scriptures and to unlock the secrets of the divine through contemplation, prayer, and ritual practice. Gnosticism, in particular, had a significant influence on Rosicrucianism and other esoteric Christian traditions. Gnostics believed that the material world was created by a flawed or ignorant deity, and that the true God was a transcendent and unknowable being. They sought to attain gnosis, or direct knowledge of the divine, through mystical experiences and the study of secret teachings. Esoteric Christian traditions often explored themes such as the nature of the soul, the relationship between God and humanity, and the path to salvation. They emphasize the importance of inner transformation and the attainment of spiritual perfection. These traditions provided a framework for individuals to explore their own spirituality outside the confines of traditional religious institutions. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the ways in which Rosicrucianism and esoteric Christian traditions influenced the development of various occult societies and movements in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the rise of spiritualism and theosophy, two influential movements that shaped the landscape of modern esotericism. As we continue our exploration of the historical currents of occultism, it is essential to examine the emergence and influence of several key factions that significantly shaped the landscape of modern esoteric thought and practice. These groups, each with its unique focus and approach, played a crucial role in disseminating occult ideas, developing new techniques, and attracting individuals seeking alternative paths to spiritual knowledge. Among the most prominent of these are the Freemasons, the Theosophists, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Freemasons, a fraternal organization with roots tracing back to the 17th century, incorporated elements of symbolism, allegory, and esotericism into their rituals and teachings. While Freemasonry is not explicitly an occult organization, its use of symbolic language and its emphasis on self-improvement and the pursuit of knowledge have often attracted individuals with an interest in esoteric traditions. Freemasonry emphasizes morality, brotherhood, and the importance of civic virtue, promoting the philosophy of ethical living and social responsibility. Freemasonry's origins lie in the guilds of stonemasons who built the cathedrals and other great structures of medieval Europe. Over time, these guilds began to accept members who were not stonemasons, known as speculative masons, and the focus of the organization shifted from practical construction to moral and philosophical instruction. Freemasonic lodges became centers of intellectual and social exchange, providing a forum for members to discuss ideas, share knowledge, and support one another in their personal and professional lives. The rituals of Freemasonry are rich in symbolism, drawing upon biblical stories, ancient myths, and Hermetic philosophy. Members progress through a series of degrees, each with its own set of symbols, allegories, and lessons. These rituals are designed to impart moral and spiritual truths, encouraging members to strive for self-improvement and to live according to the principles of Freemasonry. Moving into the late 19th century, we encounter the Theosophical Society, founded in 1875 by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott. The Theosophical Society sought to combine Eastern mysticism with Western thought, promoting the synthesis of religious, philosophical, and scientific ideas. Theosophists explored concepts such as spiritual evolution, reincarnation, karma, and the interconnectedness of all things, drawing upon sources from Hinduism, Buddhism, Kabbalah, and other esoteric traditions. The Theosophical Society's teachings were based on Blavatsky's writings, particularly her magnum opus, Secret Doctrine, which presented a sweeping account of the origins of the universe and the evolution of humanity. Theosophists believed in the existence of a hidden spiritual hierarchy composed of enlightened beings known as masters or mahatmas, who guided the evolution of humanity from behind the scenes. The Theosophical Society had a profound influence on the development of modern spirituality, popularizing Eastern concepts in the West and inspiring a renewed interest in esoteric traditions. Theosophists promoted a message of universal brotherhood and the importance of transcending religious and cultural boundaries in the pursuit of spiritual knowledge. Finally, we arrive at the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, established in 1888 by William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Little MacGregor Mathers, and William Robert Whitman. The Golden Dawn was a secret society dedicated to the study and practice of esoteric traditions, including Kabbalah, ceremonial magic, astrology, alchemy, and Western mysticism. The Golden Dawn drew upon a wide range of sources, including the writings of Agrippa, the Kabbalah, the Tarot, and the Egyptian Book of the Dead, creating a complex and innovative system of ritual magic. The Golden Dawn had a hierarchical structure, with members progressing through a series of grades, each with its own set of rituals, teachings, and initiations. The rituals of the Golden Dawn were elaborate and dramatic, involving the use of symbolic objects, costumes, and incantations. The members of the Golden Dawn sought to achieve spiritual transformation through the practice of ceremonial magic, aiming to develop their psychic abilities, communicate with spirits, and attain higher states of consciousness. The Golden Dawn had a profound influence on the development of modern occult practices, shaping the course of Western esotericism for generations to come. Many prominent figures in the occult world, such as Aleister Crowley, D.N. Fortune, and Israel Regardie, were members of the Golden Dawn, and their writings and teachings continue to influence contemporary occultists. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the legacy of these influential factions, exploring the ways in which their ideas and practices have shaped the landscape of modern esotericism. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the rise of modern witchcraft and paganism, examining the emergence of Wicca and other contemporary pagan traditions. As we delve further into the complexities of modern occultism, we cannot overlook the towering and controversial figure of Aleister Crowley and the profound impact of his spiritual and magical system, the Lemma. Crowley, often referred to as the Great Beast 666, remains a divisive figure, both revered and reviled for his unconventional lifestyle, provocative writings, and radical approach to magic and spirituality. However, his influence on the development of modern occultism is undeniable. Aleister Crowley (1875–1947) was an English occultist, ceremonial magician, poet, and writer who challenged conventional norms and embraced a philosophy of individual empowerment and self-discovery. He was initiated into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in 1898, where he studied Kabbalah, ceremonial magic, and other esoteric traditions. However, Crowley's rebellious spirit and his desire to push the boundaries of occult practice soon led him to break away from the Golden Dawn and pursue his own unique path. In 1904, while on honeymoon in Egypt, Crowley claimed to have received a series of revelations from a discarnate entity named Aiwass. These revelations, which were recorded in a book known as the Book of the Law Liber Velagius, formed the foundation of the Lemma, Crowley's spiritual and magical system. The Book of the Law proclaimed a new eon in human history, the Eon of Horus, characterized by the principle of do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. The Lemma, which means will in Greek, emphasizes the importance of discovering and following one's true will, which Crowley saw as the individual's unique purpose and destiny in life. Crowley believed that each individual has a divine spark within them, and that the goal of life is to awaken and express this divine potential. The Lemma incorporates elements of ceremonial magic, Eastern mysticism, and Western occultism into its system of practice. Crowley developed a complex system of rituals, meditations, and yogic exercises designed to help individuals discover their true will and to achieve spiritual enlightenment. He also emphasized the importance of self-knowledge, self-discipline, and the integration of the conscious and subconscious mind. Crowley's writings and teachings had a lasting impact on the occult, influencing modern magic and spirituality in a number of ways. His focus on individual empowerment and the exploration of the subconscious mind contributed to the development of new magical traditions, such as chaos magic, which emphasizes the importance of personal experimentation and the creation of individualized systems of practice. Crowley's work also challenged traditional notions of morality and ethics, advocating for a more individualistic and relativistic approach to these issues. His emphasis on the freedom of the individual to pursue their own desires and to express their authentic self resonated with many individuals who felt constrained by conventional social norms. However, Crowley's life and work were also marked by controversy. His embrace of hedonism, his experimentation with drugs, and his provocative writings often drew criticism and condemnation. He was accused of being a Satanist, a black magician, and a dangerous influence on society. Despite the controversy surrounding him, Crowley's influence on the development of modern occultism remains undeniable. His emphasis on individual empowerment, his exploration of the subconscious mind, and his innovative approach to magic and spirituality continue to inspire and challenge occultists today. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the legacy of Crowley and dilemma, exploring the ways in which their ideas and practices have shaped the landscape of modern esotericism. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to the rise of modern witchcraft and paganism, examining the emergence of Wicca and other contemporary pagan traditions. As we continue to trace the evolution of occultism into the modern era, it is crucial to acknowledge the rise of modern Wicca and the broader neo-pagan movement. These traditions represent a significant shift away from the Western monotheistic religions, embracing a more decentralized, nature-based spirituality rooted in ancient pagan beliefs and practices. Modern Wicca and neo-paganism have resonated with countless individuals seeking a more personal, empowering, and environmentally conscious spiritual path. Modern Wicca, often considered the most prominent form of neo-paganism, emerged in the mid-20th century, largely through the efforts of Gerald Gardner, an English civil servant and amateur anthropologist. Gardner claimed to have been initiated into a surviving coven of witches, and he synthesized elements from various esoteric traditions, including ceremonial magic, Freemasonry, and folklore, to create a new religious system. Wicca is characterized by its reverence for nature, its celebration of the divine in both feminine and masculine forms, the goddess and the god, and its emphasis on personal experience and direct connection with the divine. Wiccans typically observe a cycle of seasonal festivals known as the Wheel of the Year, which celebrates the changing seasons and honors the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Wiccan beliefs and practices vary widely, reflecting the decentralized and individualistic nature of the tradition. However, some common elements include the use of magic and ritual, the worship of deities drawn from ancient pagan pantheons, and a commitment to ethical conduct, often expressed through the Wiccan Creed, and it harm none, do what ye will. Neo-paganism, as a broader category, encompasses a wide range of traditions that seek to revive or reconstruct pre-Christian religious practices and beliefs. In addition to Wicca, neo-pagan movements include Druidry, Asatru Norse paganism, Hellenism, Greek paganism, and various forms of Celtic paganism. These traditions often draw upon historical sources, archaeological evidence, and folklore to inform their beliefs and practices, but they also incorporate elements of creativity and personal interpretation. Neo-pagan movements have experienced a resurgence in recent decades, attracting individuals from diverse backgrounds who are seeking a more meaningful and authentic spiritual path. These traditions offer an alternative to mainstream religions, emphasizing personal empowerment, environmental stewardship, and a direct connection with the natural world. The appeal of neo-paganism can be attributed to a number of factors. First, many individuals are drawn to the decentralized and non-dogmatic nature of these traditions, which allows for greater personal autonomy and freedom of expression. Second, neopaganism offers a more balanced and inclusive view of the divine, honoring both feminine and masculine energies and recognizing the sacredness of nature. Third, neopaganism provides a sense of connection to the past, allowing individuals to reclaim their ancestral heritage and to celebrate the wisdom and traditions of ancient cultures. However, neopaganism is not without its challenges. The diversity and lack of centralized authority within the movement can lead to disagreements and conflicts over doctrine and practice. Additionally, neopaganism is often subject to misrepresentation and prejudice, particularly from those who misunderstand or fear its practices. Despite these challenges, modern Wicca and neopagan movements continue to thrive, providing alternative spiritual pathways for those seeking a deeper connection with nature, ancient wisdom, and personal empowerment. These traditions represent a significant force in the contemporary religious landscape, challenging conventional norms and offering a vision of a more sustainable, inclusive, and spiritually fulfilling future. As we continue our exploration of occult magic, we will examine the legacy of modern Wicca and neopaganism, exploring the ways in which their ideas and practices have shaped the landscape of modern esotericism. In our next lecture, we will turn our attention to contemporary trends in occultism, examining the emergence of chaos magic, the use of technology in magical practice, and the ongoing dialogue between occultism and science. As we approach the present day in our exploration of occult magic, we encounter a radical and transformative force known as chaos magic. Emerging in the late 1970s, chaos magic represents a departure from traditional magical systems, emphasizing individual creativity, experimentation, and the power of the will to shape reality. It is a dynamic and adaptable approach to magic that has resonated with a generation of practitioners seeking to break free from rigid structures and explore the boundless potential of the human mind. Chaos magic arose from a confluence of influences, including the writings of Aleister Crowley, the principles of Discordianism, and the emerging field of cybernetics. Its early proponents, such as Peter J. Carroll and Ray Sherwin, sought to create a magical system that was free from dogma, hierarchy, and unnecessary complexity. At the heart of chaos magic lies the belief that reality is malleable and that the human mind has the power to shape it through intention, belief, and focused energy. Chaos magicians reject the notion that magic is dependent on external forces or entities, instead emphasizing the individual's ability to directly influence the fabric of reality. One of the key principles of chaos magic is the use of belief systems as tools. Chaos magicians recognize that belief systems, whether religious, scientific, or magical, are essentially mental constructs that can be adopted and discarded as needed to achieve specific goals. They may temporarily adopt a particular belief system to perform a magical working, and then abandon that belief system once the working is complete. Chaos magic emphasizes the importance of gnosis, a state of altered consciousness in which the mind is focused and receptive to magical influence. Various techniques are used to achieve gnosis, including meditation, sensory deprivation, and intense emotional states. Unlike traditional magical systems, which often relied on elaborate rituals and fixed symbols, chaos magic encourages practitioners to create their own personalized rituals and symbols. This emphasis on creativity and experimentation allows chaos magicians to tailor their magical practices to their individual needs and preferences. Chaos magic also incorporates elements of humor and irreverence, challenging the often solemn and serious atmosphere of traditional magic. Chaos magicians recognize that laughter can be a powerful tool for breaking down mental barriers and accessing altered states of consciousness. The four tenets of chaos magic can be summarized as follows. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. This statement, often attributed to Hassan I. Saba, the founder of the medieval order of assassins, encapsulates the chaos magicians' rejection of dogma and their commitment to individual freedom. Belief is a tool. Belief systems are not seen as fixed truths, but rather as instruments that can be used and discarded as needed. Gnosis is essential. Achieving a state of altered consciousness is crucial for effective magical practice. Personal experimentation is key. Chaos magicians are encouraged to develop their own unique methods and approaches to magic. Humor and irreverence are valuable. Laughter can be a powerful tool for breaking down mental barriers and accessing altered states of consciousness. Chaos magic has had a significant impact on the development of modern occultism, influencing a wide range of magical practices and spiritual traditions. Its emphasis on individual empowerment, experimentation, and the rejection of dogma has resonated with a generation of practitioners seeking a more flexible and adaptable approach to magic. However, chaos magic is not without its critics. Some argue that its emphasis on individual freedom can lead to ethical lapses and a lack of accountability. Others criticize its rejection of traditional magical systems, arguing that it lacks the depth and wisdom of more established traditions. Despite these criticisms, chaos magic continues to evolve and adapt, remaining a dynamic and influential force in the contemporary occult landscape. Its emphasis on individual creativity, experimentation, and the power of the will ensures that it will continue to challenge traditional paradigms and inspire new generations of magical practitioners. As we conclude our exploration of occult magic, we will reflect on the enduring themes and trends that have shaped its history and its continuing relevance in the modern world. We will also consider the ethical implications of magical practice and the importance of approaching this complex and often controversial subject with sensitivity, respect, and a commitment to responsible engagement. The influence of the occult on popular culture is a fascinating and multifaceted phenomenon that has captivated audiences across various media platforms. From movies to music, TV shows, and literature, the occult has been a pervasive theme, reflecting our collective fascination with the mysterious, the unknown, and the unexplained. In the realm of cinema, the occult has been a staple of horror movies, with classics like The Exorcist 1973 and Rosemary's Baby 1968 exploring the darker aspects of occultism. However, the occult has also been featured in fantasy epics like Harry Potter 2001 to 2011 and The Lord of the Rings 2001 to 2003, showcasing its potential for magic, wonder, and adventure. In music, occult themes and imagery have been employed by a wide range of artists, from heavy metal bands like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden to hip-hop artists like Jay-Z and Kanye West. These artists often incorporate occult symbols, lyrics, and aesthetics into their work, attracting a devoted following and sparking controversy among critics and audiences alike. Television series have also explored the occult, with supernatural dramas like The X-Files 1993 to 2002 and 2016 to 2018, and Stranger Things 2016 to present delving into the mysterious and the unexplained. Reality TV shows like Ghost Hunters 2004 to 2012 and Paranormal Witness 2011 to 2016 have also capitalized on the public's fascination with the occult, featuring paranormal investigations and supernatural encounters. Literature has long been a fertile ground for occult themes, with authors like H.P. Lovecraft, Aleister Crowley, and Dennis Wheatley exploring the darker aspects of occultism in their works. Modern authors like Neil Gaiman, Clive Barker, and Anne Rice have also incorporated occult elements into their fiction, often blending horror, fantasy, and supernatural themes. The appeal of the occult in popular culture can be attributed to several factors. Firstly, the occult represents a realm of mystery and intrigue, offering a glimpse into the unknown and the unexplained. Secondly, occult themes often tap into our deep-seated fears and anxieties, providing a safe outlet for exploring and confronting these emotions. Finally, the occult has a rich cultural and historical heritage, drawing upon ancient mythologies, symbolism, and rituals that continue to captivate and inspire artists and audiences alike. However, the portrayal of the occult in popular culture has also been criticized for its sensationalism, inaccuracy, and potential for misinformation. Some critics argue that the occult is often reduced to simplistic or stereotypical representations, perpetuating negative stereotypes and reinforcing misconceptions about occultism and its practices. In conclusion, the influence of the occult on popular culture is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon, reflecting our collective fascination with the mysterious, the unknown, and the unexplained. While the occult has been a rich source of inspiration for artists and creators, it is essential to approach its representation in popular culture with nuance, sensitivity, and a critical eye, recognizing both its potential for creative expression and its potential for misinformation and exploitation. As we continue to explore the intersection of the occult and popular culture, we will examine the ways in which the occult has been portrayed in various media platforms, from film and literature to music and television. We will also consider the implications of this portrayal, including its impact on public perception, cultural attitudes, and individual beliefs and practices. By examining the complex and multifaceted relationship between the occult and popular culture, we can gain a deeper understanding of the power of the occult to inspire, captivate, and transform us. The intersection of the occult and conspiracy theories is a complex and often fraught area, where genuine historical and philosophical inquiries can become entangled with speculation, misinformation, and even harmful ideologies. Understanding this relationship requires a careful and critical approach, distinguishing between legitimate research and unsubstantiated claims. One of the primary connections between the occult and conspiracy theories lies in the allure of secret societies. Throughout history, various groups have maintained a degree of secrecy regarding their rituals, teachings, and membership. While many of these societies, such as the Freemasons, are primarily fraternal or philosophical organizations, their secrecy has often fueled speculation about their hidden influence on world events. Conspiracy theories often posit that these societies wield immense power behind the scenes, manipulating governments, economies, and even social trends to advance their own agendas. Another common theme is the idea of forbidden or hidden knowledge. Many conspiracy theories center around the notion that certain groups possess esoteric or occult knowledge that is deliberately kept from the public. This knowledge is often believed to grant these groups a superior understanding of the world and the ability to control or manipulate others. The alleged suppression of this knowledge is seen as a means of maintaining power and preventing the masses from achieving enlightenment or liberation. Furthermore, many conspiracy theories suggest that occult powers are actively used by elite groups to maintain control over society. These theories often involve allegations of ritual abuse, mind control, and the use of magical techniques to influence individuals or events on a large scale. Such claims are often based on speculation and misinformation, lacking credible evidence and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Belief in unseen forces operating behind world events is another central element in many occult-related conspiracy theories. These theories often posit the existence of supernatural entities, such as demons or extraterrestrial beings, that are secretly manipulating human affairs. Such beliefs can be deeply entrenched in religious or spiritual frameworks, and they can be difficult to challenge with rational arguments or empirical evidence. It is crucial to approach these theories with a critical and discerning mind. While it is important to acknowledge the historical influence of secret societies and the enduring appeal of occult ideas, it is equally important to recognize the potential for misinformation and harmful ideologies to spread under the guise of conspiracy theories. Engaging in responsible research and critical analysis is essential for separating fact from fiction and avoiding the pitfalls of paranoia and prejudice. The relationship between the occult and conspiracy theories highlights the importance of media literacy, critical thinking, and a healthy skepticism towards unsubstantiated claims. It is vital to be able to distinguish between legitimate historical inquiry and speculative narratives that lack credible evidence. It is also important to be aware of the potential for conspiracy theories to be used to promote harmful ideologies, such as racism, antisemitism, and xenophobia. By approaching the intersection of the occult and conspiracy theories with a balanced and critical perspective, we can better understand the complex dynamics at play and avoid falling prey to misinformation and prejudice. Responsible engagement with these topics requires a commitment to factual accuracy, historical context, and a deep respect for the rights and beliefs of others.